the reason we create these businesses is for self-expression. We bundle it up and go, here, come work with me.
What is manifestation?
Oh, God.
Alrighty guys, one of the top manifestation coaches here in Australia and probably one of the top ones in the world, multi-millionaire coach, Miss Alex Trifle. How do we actually get ourselves out of a day-to-day funk? This is not my fucking day.
Yep.
Nothing's working.
Yep.
How do we break that pattern?
You become rich in the mind far before you become rich in the bank account, right? How we feel in any given moment is literally...
Alrighty guys, so welcoming back to the podcast for the second time now is my friend, Galactic Coach, but one of the top manifestation coaches here in Australia and probably one of the top ones in the world, multi-millionaire coach, coming here today to literally talk to you all things manifestation, how to raise our vibration and literally attract our dream life. My friend, Miss Alex Trifle.
What's up? Thanks for having me back again.
Hey, it's been a while. You're actually one of the first guests, I think. You're probably like one of the first 50 podcasts.
Your podcast has definitely evolved since the last time I've been on it. I remember it was laptop to laptop. Mm-hmm. And this is a huge evolution. So.
Yeah, it was growing with nearly 300 episodes. We've had hundreds of thousands of downloads.
That's amazing, man.
We're top 10, and I think in about 40, 50 countries around the world. Yeah. Streamed in over 100.
Yeah. I've been gagging to get back on for a while.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Well, hey, what I really want to, I want to talk to us. So you're the go-to person of manifestation. Mm-hmm. That's what you do. You help people really manifest their dream life. This whole podcast and mission that I'm on is helping people create their dream life. I know that it's not just hard work and mechanics. Mm-hmm. There's probably the same amount, if not probably more, that goes into creating success that comes to the energetics of space. So I want you to first kick us off. What is manifestation?
Oh, God, just throwing me in with a question that I've probably never been asked before. What is manifestation? From the top of my head, if I can uniquely, organically create my own definition, it would be bringing the metaphysical into the physical. And the faster we can collapse the time of what we're experiencing in the quantum or the non-physical reality or the vibrational reality, and the faster we can experience it with our 5 physical senses, that's what determines a powerful manifester, because you're collapsing time because you've got a high vibration. So it's like you're manifesting faster. Does that make sense?
Yes. So essentially we can manifest our dreams, we can manifest our desires by vibrating higher.
Correct.
How do we vibrate higher?
Okay, cool.
Well, before we go, what makes us vibrate higher? What makes people vibrate low?
Okay, cool. So when we look at the vibrational scale, the biggest thing that changed for me when I started to understand this was an atom, when we break it down, is made up of subatomic particles, right? So what determines how fast and light our vibration is basically how fast and light the subatomic particles move together. So the relationship of your subatomic particles in your body is determining how fast and light our subatomic particles vibrate. And what this means is on a cellular level, we're actually holding more light in every cell to be enlightened, right? So it's more conscious awareness. When we have more presence, when we're in expanded awareness, all this means is we have access to more information. That's what light means. Now, what does it mean to have access to more information? Think of right now Morgan version 2.0. He has access to universal God consciousness. Like, imagine what would be possible to you. There'd be no fear. There'd be no stopping you. You'd be able to manifest in a nanosecond. You'd have all the resources and wisdom. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To be vibrating low, it means you're in a contracted, more dense, energetic state. Your subatomic particles are moving slow, they're heavy, and that you can always feel it in someone. It's like a contracting energy. And usually, typically, that's when they say someone's in they're in ego, or Tony Robbins says, when you're in your head, you're dead, right? So it's like guilt, shame, fear, apathy. People are thinking about me. They're not in expanded consciousness.
And you can feel that in people when you meet people. And I think even if people listening to this right now and it's like, I've no idea what subatomic particle is, okay? You can definitely relate back to a time where you've met someone where it's been like their energy was just off.
Yep.
They felt like they were dense. They felt like they were, and I can even think back to my life, like the past 5 years even of been times in my life where it's been more just stuckness, feeling cloggy.
Yep.
And now I can really sort of feel more of a free flow, more of a natural sort of, it's more flowy.
And a lot of the time I reckon you've raised your vibration. So it's like people are naturally raising their vibration even if they're not calling it that, because of the fearless action that you're taking. So through consistent, courageous action, you are pushing past the vibration of courage, which always activates a new level for you because you're actually being present with fear. You're doing it anyway. And so that's activating a larger capacity that you can hold. So it's like you do it through action, and which is great. You like, a lot of people are like, I'm just going to sit and meditate on my navel. I'm going to manifest the life of my dreams. No, you've got to have the action as well.
So you do have to actually act.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm never going to be that manifestation coach. This is close your eyes, imagine what you want. And I think that's what was missing in The Secret a lot.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that. I remember that scene. It's like, visualize your car. And it's like, well, no, it's called law of attraction for a reason. Like, you've got to actually, you know, take action on the opportunities that the universe brings forth to you.
Yeah. John Azareth says it best. He says, I like the law of attraction, but I like the law of Goya. Get off your ass.
I love it.
The law of Goya.
I love it.
And because then,
But Goya is very hard when you're in a low contracted energy because you do not believe in yourself, so you don't want to Goya, right? It's impossible.
So you're saying, so when we're vibrating at a low energy, aka stuck in fears, limiting beliefs, guilt, shame, we find it harder to actually step into the action that we need to take.
100%.
And the action in itself is the thing that's going to help us raise our vibration higher.
Yes. So it's like when people are vibrating low, their cycles per second, their hertz, so I'm getting scientific now, but basically so think of love is 500 hertz. You're pinging high. You're a magnet to your desires. Shame is 20 hertz. It's one of the lowest vibrations you can experience, which is why so many people think of a relationship. You feel shame, you deflect, you divert, you have a fight. You don't want to feel shame. So the human will do anything it can to not feel that emotion. So basically, when your cycles per second are lower, the wave is flat. So think of a flat wave. That's what depression looks like. So I'm feeling flat today, right? So this person won't really receive ideas. When they do, they don't act on it because they're in fear. They don't believe in themselves. This feels like Groundhog Day, and they manifest really slow. Someone who vibrates fast and really high, they're a high viber. Their frequency is like this.
So are you saying like they're going up and down all day long?
It just means that the cycle per second is a higher frequency. That's what the wave looks like.
Gotcha.
So the peak and trough, the timing on the peak of trough is a lot skinnier than the peak and trough of someone that's got a flat vibration. And these guys are collapsing time. So this is why maybe like you and me look like we get, how do they get all those achievements done in 12 months time in comparison to someone that's not driven, not doing any energy work, not motivated by their dreams, and nothing's fucking changed in 12 months.
Okay. So do we, I think I know the answer to this question, but do us as human beings, so if you're saying, so love vibrates here, shame is vibrating, do we have a natural, like is there an average vibration? Is there studies on this or tested, or has it come down to people's past traumas and things they've worked on?
Both. So David Hawkins in the book Power versus Force, he says that the average human vibrates at 207 hertz. 207 hertz is just below courage, which makes sense because most of humanity haven't truly stepped into their courage. Now, in order to live your dreams, would you say you have to over and over and over again step into the unknown, take risks, which takes courage, right? So when we counter that, that's the average human. And then obviously that's, I don't know how we measured that, but that's obviously like 100% trauma is going to come into that. So what's your conditioning from mummy and daddy? What do you believe about love? What do you believe about what you're worthy of? What do you believe about money? What do you believe about success? All that comes into play. And that's the programs that we store in our subconscious mind. and that projects out there like a hologram. And unless we create new programs, then we're going to keep playing out the same shit all the time.
That's very interesting. So people are operating at around 200 hertz. So am I right by saying that the thing that could help people raise their vibration would be to actually release the attachment of these lower level fears and emotions?
Yes.
The guilt, the shame, the anger,
100%.
sadness, all these things are lower than courage.
100%. Like, so I call it decision incision. So it's like the step one is like making a line in the sand moment, an actual decision, whatever it is. I'm going to create financial freedom. I choose to be the best version of me. I choose to get healthy. I choose to, whatever it is, become a millionaire. And then once you made that decision, like when you look at the breakdown of the word, decision, incision. Incision means to like cut off from the old version of you that used to self-sabotage. It told you you can't do it. And that's a huge part of it. But then making a decision, as you probably would have experienced, is not always like all we need. Like I can be like, I make a decision to become 8-figure next year. Well, that's great, Alex. But if my programming system isn't on board with that, I ain't going to manifest
it's like
that.
An integrated decision, right? It's a conscious and an unconscious decision.
Yeah.
Because we can say, yeah, I'm going to make 8 figures next year.
Yeah.
But then instantly it's like gauge how uncomfortable that feels to say that. So if it's like, I'm going to make 8 figures next year, and it's like, it feels amazing and perfect, then it's probably quite integrated.
Yeah.
And I think that would be, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm hearing this right now. I'm like, if I was to say next year I'm going to make $100 million, I could already feel my body being like,
contract, yeah.
No, you're not.
Well, tell me, go say, like, let's test it. So for example, let's say, tell me you're going to become 8-figure next year, Alex.
You're going to become an 8-figure entrepreneur next year.
Cool. So what comes up for me is excitement. And then immediately I see my limiting beliefs and I go, cool. For me to go from 2 mil to 10 mil, my relationship's going to go to shit. I'm going to have to sacrifice. My health is probably going to deteriorate. I'm going to have to work really hard. So all of a sudden, because I haven't got examples of people in my life that have quantum shifted from 1 to 2 mil to 10 mil, I'm already made a decision, or I have a limiting beliefs that other areas of my life have to go to shit and suffer. Yeah.
Have you read the book, The Big Leap?
I have, but not in a while.
Revisit it. Every time I read that book,
the upper limit, right?
Yeah, it's that. Because that's what he believes. It's like fundamentally, us as human beings, we have one of the 4, I think it is, beliefs that we won't be able to be extremely successful financially, relationship-wise, and health at the exact same time.
Right.
And so it's like one of them will leap at first. And so what he talks about is going back to which one of these 4 are holding you back, and then actually tapping into that and having it all.
Right.
Every time I've read that, I'm like, I've had like another leap.
Great.
I'm like,
read it
fuck.
again. You've inspired me.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
I'm reading How to Awaken the Fifth Dimension right now. I'm obsessed with aliens and dimensions and the fifth 5D Earth.
We can go there.
We don't have to.
I want to come back to the whole like vibration thing, because it is just so practical, and like every single person on Earth should understand this, because I talk to some people, not these people too often, but a perfect example would be some of my family, like my brother.
Yeah.
Right? My brother is someone who always has something happening, something going wrong.
Like drama, things
there's
going
just
wrong.
always like, oh, you wouldn't believe this, and now this, and this is literally the epitome of like, we can only attract whatever we're in harmonious vibration with.
Absolutely.
So this would be an example. So would I be right by saying that? And I don't think I'm lucky, because naturally a lot of great shit happens in my life now. Like it's not out of the ordinary for me to be like, oh yeah, well that would happen to me now. Of course it would. Like that's not out of the ordinary. But me 5 years ago, I'd be like, what the fuck? Yeah. But like now I kind of expect it. But if I was to compare myself with, who I was 10 years ago, it's such a shock. But I was continually attracting, shitty relationships, shitty people, shitty business, money. Yep. Money would come, money would go.
Right.
And so the question would be is how do we kind of go about increasing our vibration, right? If that's the goal here, right?
Yep.
It's like if we're operating at a lower vibration, we're attracting other shitty things.
Yeah.
And so it's not really necessarily that rich people or happy people keep getting all these things because they're lucky. It's because they're on that vibration.
Yep.
So how do we sort of create that quantum leap? Or is it a quantum leap? Or is it a decade of work? What's up, Dream Nation? Have you ever wondered how far ahead your life would have already been if you had got access to this type of content at a younger age? Look, this is why I need your help. I'm trying to build the #1 personal development platform out there to teach you guys the tips, tricks, and attitude of what it takes to live your dream life and to bring the type of education that we all wish we had in school. This show only grows by word of mouth and new subscribers, so it would mean the world to me if you could smash that subscribe button right now, leave us a 5-star written review or drop a comment below and share this episode with a friend. I would be forever grateful. All right, now let's get back into this episode.
I definitely think quantum leaps are possible when you put your frequency first, when you make your vibration your #1 priority. But the reality is most of us are putting either hard work as a priority or strategy as a priority, and then be like, oh, I'll meditate later. Oh, I'll do that later. And so the way I can actually make it more tangible is I want you to think of like, so the first thing I want to share, and I've shared this stat so many times because it blows my mind. I heard it in a book once like 4 years ago and it blew my mind. So when we look at an atom is made up of 99.999999996% empty space. To context that for you, what that means is if we were to put the entirety of humanity, 7.8 billion people that live on planet Earth right now, into what we consider real matter, I can touch it, it's real, we would all fit into one sugar cube. So what is real? It's all empty space. We're all creating our own personal reality through our filters and the program stored in our subconscious mind. But when we break down a subatomic particle, and what I work with my clients with is their personal energetic frequency. So not just your vibration, it's your personal energetic frequency that determines what you're manifesting and attracting in your life. And that can be broken down into 7 factors. So think of a circle, think of 7 slices. That's a pizza, right? Let's see if I remember them. You've got your programming frequency, which is just a fancy way of saying your belief systems. You've got your thought frequency. You've got the word you speak. Abracadabra comes from a Hebrew saying, we create what we speak. So many people are addicted to speaking about what they don't want, what is, and they just keep creating and activating the sign timeline.
What do you want this year? I don't want to be broke. I don't want to work with Joe anymore.
Exactly.
I don't want to be treated like this.
And the universe doesn't know don't, right?
Yeah.
So thoughts, programs, words, your emotional frequency, arguably one of the most important factors that determine our realities, how we feel in any given moment is literally emitting a signal and bringing like things to it. So we can't expect to feel fat and feel good, get fit. We can't expect to feel broke as fuck and like just distraught about money and become rich. You become rich in the mind far before you become rich in the bank account, right? What are we up to? Environment, your level of self-love, and last but not least, how you relate with others. So for example, do you have envy and jealousy towards others that have success, or do you celebrate others? Because if we're all one and you're all like, fuck, that's so shit, in the way I see it, I call it the green light method. If I see you make 10 mil next year and that's what I wanted to do, and instead of being happy for you, I'm like, fuck, like, Morgan. And I'm like, I put judgment, I put envy. It's all disguised, right? What I'm computing, what I'm telling my subconscious mind is, it's not safe to go and create the same thing. So the green light method is going like, yes, Morgan, fuck yeah, I celebrate you. And it's safe for me to go and create the same thing.
Do you ever look at people now and have those sorts of feelings and be like, motherfucker, like, I wish I could do that. Or I wish I had that now, or...
No, I don't think I've ever had that. I think the only thing I've probably had is like, how do they do it so fast? And I'm curious.
Yeah.
And I'll go into like, should I work with them? So the only thing I'd be like, do I need to work with this person? What codes do they have? What strategy do they have? So it's like, fuck, what do they have? Let me invest.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I'd be lying if I said like, there's definitely some people in the world that I'd look at and the first initial kind of thought is like, fuck, man.
Right.
Like, you know, but then I guess it's sort of like, it's never I honestly can't tell you the last time I ever looked at someone and said like, fucking, you know, fuck you. Because it always is I want that. But it is an initial sort of like, fuck, man, like, why doesn't this fuck happen to me yet?
Right.
You know, like kind of like that.
Right.
You know,
but it's kind of inspiring in a weird
of course
way,
it is.
right?
It is. But I think it comes down to me just the standard I have on my life as well. I mean, like, you know, but then so for a perfect example with my podcast, there's someone I know who started their podcast at a very similar time to me.
Yep.
And they started maybe 1 month after me.
Yep.
And while I was over here recording shit on my Zoom in my bedroom for 2 years before I ever even did one in the studio, and then literally up until the start of this year, they were all just on Zoom.
Yep.
Recorded audio. And meanwhile, what he did was every single one he did in person, invested in studios, invested in quality, invested in getting it done. And he's grown 20-something thousand on YouTube. And I've seen him resurface lately. I was like, what the fuck, man? You started the same fucking time as me. Like, fucking, you know, I'm like, what the fuck? But then I also look at the fact that that's the only thing he's done though. Like he went in and goes, I'm just doing the podcast.
Wow.
What I've done is built 2 new companies at the same time as well.
Dreamfest events, this and that, like that.
I'm a psychopath. I built 9 programs in a year. Right? 9 programs, filled every single event in the year. Dreamfest 2 times, spoken on stage with, you know, so now I look at that.
So
I'm like,
you're spreading and even though it's potent energy, you're spreading your Vegemite across 10 crackers, and he's gotten 1 wad of Vegemite and slapped it across 1 cracker.
Yeah.
Right? I'd love to see your income stream versus his income stream.
And that's what I do know. So I looked at that and I was like, yeah, but Morgan, come on.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so if I was to do nothing else, just this, I'd turn to absolute fucking behemoth.
Absolutely.
And to be honest, it could be a good strategy, but it's also not what
But does it light you up? Like if I think the only thing I could ever sell for the rest of my life is Manifestation University, but I'll become a multi-millionaire, I'd be like, what? I don't get to create raps and stage performances and events and other programs and masterminds and retreats. That's going to kill my soul. Like the reason we create these businesses is for self-expression. We bundle it up and go, here, come work with me. Like that's the beauty of a personal brand, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's an interesting thing. But I think, because I was just trying to like just be super honest that there is still some people and I will think the same as what you said. It's like, why did it happen faster for them? I'm like, why is it happening faster?
Right.
Especially, I see people put like one video on social media, get
like 20,000
followers.
Right?
I'm like, the fuck, man, we put out so much shit. Where's my 100,000
Like the
followers?
unconscious fuck you.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Right. But at
do you know
least
how many people would have that about you and me?
Oh, yeah.
The unconscious fuck you. But we're inspiring, but also triggering people.
Yeah.
So they're just...
Get used to it.
Yeah, they're just what your audience are experiencing
100%.
about you. Not all your audience, but some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to tell me about, for the average entrepreneur, one thing that I get quite a bit, because sometimes I am somewhat unrelatable now to early stage entrepreneurs.
Yep.
Because I've just done it for so long, and now it's sort of like, I just know what to do, how to do it, bang, bang, let's fucking go.
Yep.
But I also remember in the early days when we first met, actually, so I've known you for how long? 7 years or something now, right? So, when we first met, I was like still working as a job and trying to build a business on the side. And there was that scarce energy kind of, and there's more days back then that I had where I was like, I can't fucking do this. And like, I'm in a funk.
Yeah.
And really having to learn how to go through that energetically and mentally, where now every day is just, it really is great. Like I really have just shit moments and I just fucking get back on with it.
Yep.
I don't know if you're the same or not, if you've had days, but how does, and
I'm having a shit day today.
what about now?
Believe it or not. Today, right now, is fixing it.
I'm fixing it.
I rarely have shit days today. I've had a really interesting day.
Okay.
Anyway.
I want to come back. I want to come back to it because it's also it's real though. But talk to us about for someone who's really understanding this work and knowing how to actually understand their emotions and you said their personal energy.
Right.
How do we actually get ourselves out of a day-to-day funk of just being like, it's just not my fucking day.
Yep.
Nothing's working.
Yep.
No one's messaging me on Instagram. How do we break that pattern?
Yep. So the biggest thing that I'm going to share with this is like, we need to be proactive. So if you're trying to reactively fix a vibration or fix your mood, like it's going to be a lot harder. Sure, you can change your state and and all these things that you can do. Like I have a tool called Vibe Boosters. It's like a 5-minute audio and it's just like breathing biohack, and it gets you out of your own shit, right? And what I like to do to prevent me spiraling into waking up and just being like, I wonder how I'm going to feel today, right? I like, whether you like to call it a morning routine or $1 million rituals, I call it my bulletproof reprogramming system. Why? Because it's bulletproof. You do it consistently over a long period of time. You cultivate such a level of trust and self-belief and certainty within yourself that slowly but surely you're raising your default vibration. So I do that through like rewiring my belief systems, incanting out my magical script and my vision statements, meditation, exercise. Like I have a set list of 7 things I do every single day that I've done, I think,
what are these things?
55 days in a row now. And sometimes I'll fall off the bandwagon and I see direct correlation between when I'm sloppy as fuck and my business starts getting fucking sloppy and my mood starts getting sloppy.
Do you say there's 7 things you do? What are they?
So there's actually 12, but I never do all 12 because it's just too much because then you end up throwing it in the fucker bucket.
Yeah.
So basically I will, God, you're making me think what I did say. So I got up, went to the gym. That's not part of it, but movement is one. Let's just call movement as one, but it's not one of my tools. Then I will, in this particular order, immediately I'll have a cold shower. So that's one. Then I'll go into 20 minutes of silent meditation, transcendental meditation. Then I will either in my apartment or go down the beach and go on a like maybe 5-minute gratitude rant, like full like tangent gratitude.
So you're yelling these out?
Yeah, like sometimes yell or like I'm saying them out loud. And part of that is courage, right? Because if people are walking past me, I have to give no fucks. Right? I'm so grateful and thankful for all the cash in my bank account. I'm so grateful and thankful for all my viral videos. I'm so grateful and thankful for past Alex and all the time she stepped on that stage when she wanted to shit her pants. Thank you, Alex. Like this is me on the beach, right?
Yeah.
Then I'll go into my magical script. So I've written out like 2 pages, but it's on the notes section of my phone. So I'm like, I now set an intention and I'm speaking it into existence, right? Because our words hold vibrational potent power. Then I will get clear on 2 beliefs I'm trying to ingrain. So I'm going to stop saying this one because it's just happened. But one of them was, I'm so grateful and thankful that I'm now a multi-millionaire. I'm so grateful and thankful that I'm now a multi-millionaire. And then another one might be, I'm a magnet to incredible, all in, ready right now, dreamy as fuck clients that are ready to work with me now. I am a magnet. So I'll just keep repeating them over and over and over again with one song, like a really like motivating song. And then I do some galactic shit, which I'm not going to share with you.
What's the galactic shit?
So I will upgrade myself with light language and like I started using my hands now and I'm just trusting my intuition and it's like I'm upgrading myself. It's like light codes and then verbally as well. And then I'll do this thing where sometimes I'll do EFT tapping. While I do my beliefs.
What does that do? What does tapping do?
It taps on your meridian lines and it's kind of like how, it's a not the same, but similar to, think of when Tony Robbins talks about when you do your incantations, if you align your physiology with it. So if you're doing push-ups at the same time and you're screaming out your incantations, it's ingraining on a cellular level.
Yeah.
So it's similar to that, but instead it's meridian lines, which is like, I think you feel good lines in your body. I don't know much about it. I just do the shit, right? Yeah. This is good for you. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to trust the person who, like, I trust you, you know your shit. I'm just going to do it.
It's like, okay. Oh, you've got a good laugh. You seem pretty happy. You're the embodiment of what I want. I'll just do what you do.
It's funny you say about the, running down the beach, because I remember when I first started understanding incantations.
Yeah.
I learned it in Cairns. I took a plane to Hawaii. And I learned it the night before, right? And I got on a plane and went to Hawaii. And I thought, as soon as I land Hawaii, I'm doing beach runs.
Yep.
And I'm ingraining my new incantations.
While you're running.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've got headphones in and I'm anchoring it. So now I'm playing music, anchoring a specific song to a certain feeling, to a certain vibration, to a certain thought, new belief. And I'm running it. And I think it was, what was it? I'm so happy. What was it? I think it was back in my old business. Like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm cycling X amount of dollars per week or something.
Nice.
There's something about like, I'm so blessed.
I just feel powerful.
Yeah. But the thing was, at first I realized I can't fucking do this out loud. There's people. There's people everywhere.
Right.
And then so I'm running and I'm just saying it out loud. I'm like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm there, yeah, okay, I'm so happy and grateful. Now that I'm, all right. And then I did a couple of runs and I thought to myself, I'm like, Morgan, chances are that one of these people, they're probably not going to get a be back there when you do your next lap.
Right.
Right. And even if they are, and they watch your whole run for the next half an hour, you'll probably never see that person ever again in your whole fucking life. Right. And you're going to let one person bring you down from doing something that you know is going to be completely transformational for you. And I don't know if you've ever seen just wacky, weird people out there in the world, but I've seen a lot of them. And when I see people, like, so if I saw someone like you on the beach being like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'd be like, fuck yeah, you are, man. Like, that's just so cool that they just don't give a fuck. And we actually...
I wish I saw more people like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need to start normalizing it.
Yeah. Just be like I like the authenticity of people just being able to do what they want.
Right.
And we see this through street performers. We see this through, I used to judge the drama kids at school to be like, it's fucking gay or whatever. But then I'm like, actually all famous actors are drama. That, you know, I'm like, actually what I was judging was someone just being their authentic self.
Yeah.
And now what I know now, it shows up parts in us that we still haven't fully integrated or become okay with feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But but the whole fear thing, I think, is the thing that really stops so many people.
Massive.
And it's not just a mindset thing, it's an energetic thing, because you're saying that if we're fearful, we're pushing these shitty vibrations out. But what I want to ask about is, I'm assuming you've done a lot of work with Bob Proctor. No. Never? None. Okay. So before
but
Bob
legends honor him for coming before me and doing all the work.
Before Bobby P passed, we did an event together and he was teaching about this thing called, and this is the most relatable thing I've ever come across when it comes to actually manifesting shit, like in some sort of visual formula that we can paint.
Yep.
And he talks about that there's this thing called the terror barrier.
Okay.
And what happens is, because every single thing we want is on a different vibration, we're here and we get everything on this level because we're in the same vibration. Yep. If we can increase the vibration to, if we want the $1 million bank account, it's on a different vibration and we have to match that.
Yeah.
But the people up here, you and I, do things differently. We act differently. We think differently. We believe different things. We vibrate, all these different things.
Yes.
The actions and habits are different from what one person down here does. So what happens is, as soon as we make the decision, which you said before, the decision itself to actually say, I'm a full body fuck yes, I'm calling this in.
Yep.
The decision will actually shift our vibration. The decision itself will pull us. And this is the uncomfortable feeling. That is what it is, the pushing through vibration. And he talks about this is the terror barrier. And it actually induces fear.
Terror barrier.
The terror barrier.
Terror, okay.
So it's like this wall.
Gotcha. Like the invisible ceiling between you and your desire, right?
Right. And how he describes it here is it's like your gut is mixing water and oil. And I'm like, this is fucking true. Because if you've ever called in like, that's it, I'm doing... Like if you were to say the next month, I'm going to make $1 million.
Right.
It's possible, right?
Right.
It's possible, but how the fuck? Who knows? Right. But if you 100% commit and decide that it's done, it's going to be fucking scary because you know it's possible, but you have no idea how. That fear is what he calls the terror barrier. And because it induces all this fear of being like, fuck, I know it's possible. I know it's happening. I see it.
Yeah.
But how? Right. And it's fucking frightening.
Yeah.
And he says the one thing that actually kills all dreams then is people will then justify. So let's say you leave here saying like, I'm making $1 million the next month. Then tomorrow you're like, oh, but I'm traveling to Dubai and I've got this. And as soon as
then there's Christmas and
right. It cuts it, brings it back down to the same vibration and we get the exact same thing. Yeah. Does that relate? Or how do you sort of, because that's how, when I talk about the process manifestation, it's like, that's fucking it.
So you're talking about making a decision and then aligning to staying in the belief of it.
Yeah.
When most people
really act in spite of the fear. Yeah. Act in spite of the really uncomfortable feeling inside of you of calling.
So you're talking about holding the vision and taking the action towards it like it's already done.
Yeah.
I'm going to one up that and be like, yes, and... Let's say you've got someone that's quite logical, 3D, doesn't really believe in the manifestation world. I'm making a decision, it's happening. And even though I feel this terror, even though I feel this day, I'm waking up every single day and I'm choosing it. And I'm choosing it's already done. I'm going to take the big, bold, courageous action, saying yes to this. I'm running in a bed, I'm doing that, I'm getting on the thing, I'm building relationships. I'm like going to do it all. but they're not doing anything energetically, they're ripping themselves off. So it's decision, holding the yes, and then emotionally conditioning yourself to become that person vibrationally. So it's like part of what creates a quantum shift is the being. It's the energy inside. It's when we shift our beliefs and our thoughts and energy to match the person that feels worthy of the $1 million months. The hard work is going to be even more potent. But the hard work without the belief work and all the energy work, he might still get there, but he'll get there missing a limb or a shell of himself.
Yeah, or feeling like unfulfilled once we're there.
Yeah.
It's interesting stuff. It is interesting stuff.
Do you do much identity work? You do, don't you?
What's your idea of identity work?
Like identity work. So like it's like how would Morgan, the version of Morgan that earns $10 million a year, it's like getting clear on what he believes, how he feels, how he shows up every day, what he thinks about money, and just like going into that reality. And then that's when like I use my tools. I'm like, cool, I'm going to script into existence, into present moment, what that reality looks like and speak that timeline into existence. I'm then going to rewire my beliefs of what that version of Morgan believes and start ingraining that into my subconscious mind so I can collapse time.
You know, I really should. I'm going to tell you something funny, and it makes no fucking sense because I know a lot of things. I felt like once I didn't have the successful life, okay, because the life I have right now is definitely the life I wanted 5-6 years ago. And what's really just funny, and I'm going to tell you exactly how it is, and it just makes no fucking sense, is I was so big on like, yes, calling life and the manifest and my script and all these things for so long, right? And then once I sort of stopped building my last business and I kind of hit burnout, I was like, fuck everything, man. I took about 8 months just to chill, do nothing when I started this podcast. What I realized was once I stopped hustling so hard, I actually started making more money. And then I started a new business, started playing on the side, and I made $25,000 in a day. It's the most money I ever made in a day before. I was like, and then you know what I thought? Fuck this manifestation shit. It doesn't even fucking work. Right. Because I was like, for so long, I was trying. Right. And it didn't fucking work. Right. But then I'm like, on the same side, you can't say that because he's made 25 grand in a day. Right. But what it was for me, I think there was definitely a while. And when I say a while, probably 2 years of in the last 3 years. Like I think I'm.
How do you know that didn't take a while to catch up?
That's the whole funny thing about it. It's like I was kind of pissed at the fact because I think I was attached to it happening a certain way.
And you were blocking it because of and then once you went, fuck it, whatever, I let go. It was that last piece of the puzzle. And then it just went, here you go, easy.
This is why one of the 4 pillars I teach is the right vehicle. Yeah. Because I think what I was doing for so long, I was trying to call in a miracle while I was trying to pretend like I was driving a Ferrari when I actually had a Daihatsu. Right. And it's like, you know, sometimes we've just got to be clear.
You can't polish a turd, right?
What's that? Yeah, right. Polish a turd. And that's why the right vehicle I think is so important because we can call in everything we want, but based off my own experience, not necessarily maybe in that vehicle, maybe the future version of you might think, because if you asked me 5 years ago, how are you going to make $1 million a year? I'm going to tell you, it was in my network marketing business.
Well, that would be like me saying to a coach, come on, you know, you're going to make $1 million, but she's doing $250 per one-on-one session. There's only one of her and she hasn't learned to scale one-to-many yet. She's fucked with her current office suite. If all you're doing is selling one-to-ones, you're going to have no time, and we haven't got the clone machine ready yet, so we can't make double you. So you can't scale to that amount of money.
Yeah. So because I do see a lot of people that were where I was trying to be like, come on, I'm calling in, I'm being the person.
Right.
But the right vehicle has so much to do with it, I think, because it's like if you're calling in this, you can never... Steve Jobs said you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only do it looking backwards. And it wasn't until I released attachment going, okay, well, I'm calling this life. This is the lifestyle I want. And I'm not attached to the vehicle that's going to get me there. Within a year, I think I made probably like 4 times my biggest year ever in the next 12 months after that.
Do you know why you did?
I changed vehicles, but it was I went.
You also believed in yourself so much more than the old version of Morgan.
Definitely.
Because arguably, I hear what you're saying. How do you explain all the people with the right business vehicle that can't fucking make one sale? So it goes both ways. I hear you, but how many people have the most incredible business vehicle that pay good comms or the great coaching program, but don't fucking believe it? They can't sell. They can't show up. It's about having the belief in your product and yourself to show up authentically and talk on stories and post and create value and do all. This is what actually creates a magnetic personal brand and people wanting to work with you. And if you don't have that self-belief, which is energetics, right? So much of it is energetics. You can have a world-class program, world-class. But if you're not magnetic, you don't have any charisma, you don't know how to talk about it, you have no confidence, no one's fucking buying that thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So there's the skill set as well. As heavily has to be
100%.
built. So yeah, so it's kind of funny. It's probably funny we're having this chat because it's like for so long I was so disciplined on all my practices of manifestation. And then it literally was. I was kind of like, fuck you. And it's like, sometimes I'll look at my script. I'm like, not today.
Everyone watching this is going to be like, I'm not doing any more manifestation and I'm going to manifest 25K in a day like more.
But in a way, but everything's duality and everything does have to be in balance. Because when I stop trying so hard, things happen easier.
Right.
But also, if I try not hard all the time, there's going to be a balance of actually. So that what I've sort of noticed is I was so hard to pendulum one way, being so disciplined for so long. Then I just kicked back. I was like, none of this fucking works anyway. But I was like, Morgan, you just made fucking couple $100,000 in a day now, and like that's now the biggest day, a couple $100,000 in a day. And it's like, so I think I'm like, it's just funny. I just want to sort of say that because it's like, I know how good it is, but I think because it didn't work the way I wanted it, I was like,
And do you know, out of 120 Manifestation University students I have, and even with my own experience in this, it's interesting you say that because so many times I'm speaking something into existence and then I get sick of this fucking paragraph that's not happening. It's happened to me too. And what I do sometimes, I just like wipe it out, right? Yeah. Or I just stop trying to manifest it. And I find the same with and it happens literally like a month later or 2 months later in like the most, I'm not even trying, just poof. Right. And so we can't discount all the back work we've been doing and then letting it go as the last step. So there's a lot of my students that are like trying to manifest X, Y, Z and they're so fixated on it. And like a lot of my students, I'm like, I want you not to even think about money, not to speak about money, not to talk about 20K months, not to talk about nothing. Get rid of all of that just for the next 2 weeks and see what happens. Boom. Sales, because they think they're manifesting money, but every time they talk about money, every time they talk about their goals, it's like they feel bad. Well, that's not happening. So like Abraham Hicks talks about, there's always two sides of the stick. There's the presence of it in your life and there's the absence of it in your life. Most people think they're manifesting. Oh yeah, I'm manifesting. No, you're talking about the subject and you're thinking about your lack of lover. You're thinking about your lack of money. You're thinking about the lack. You're not actually focused on the presence of it. And that's the thing. So many people think I'm manifesting. No, you're not. You're thinking about what you don't have and you're calling that manifesting.
So how can people manifest properly then? Because if people have been like, okay, I'm broke right now, that's the current reality. And what I really want to do is start making $30,000 months.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think, well, I want $30,000 months because I don't have it now. And unconsciously, they're actually focused on not having it still.
Yeah.
So how do they do it right then?
Well, there's a few things. The first one I'm going to say that it's okay if you're saying certain things in your daily script or if you're saying beliefs and you don't fully believe them straight away, right? I didn't believe immediately that I'm a multi-millionaire, but as you know, the subconscious mind is like your secret secretary and it will do and obey whatever it is fed consistently over time. So we have to trust over a period of time, of course, through discipline and habit and consistency, it's building the new neural pathways and a new identity. The second thing I would do is I would focus on, as fluffy as it sounds, like get clear on like, okay, do a T-ledger and be like, cool, 100K months. What's the emotion that I'm feeling now that I've achieved 100K months? My new Ferrari. What's the emotion I'm feeling? My new house. So it might be security, achievement, success, elation, presence, right? And then you want to get clear on where do I already feel these emotions in my life. So many people think they need to have a private jet or a helicopter on their mansion, landing on their private helicopter pad in order for them to feel abundant. But sometimes abundance, I feel abundant when I take a nap at 2 p.m. because it reminds me that 8 years ago, I wasn't able to do that when I was in my 9-to-5 job. I feel abundant sometimes when I have a glass of wine and I read my book on the balcony and the sun hits my skin. Like there's sometimes the most, I don't need to be flying first class to Dubai to feel abundant. So if we can tap into those emotions more frequently, it's going to shift the dominant feeling states that we're feeling.
Yeah. Talk to me about so you're talking about the identity work. So this is going to be good because maybe you can give me the kick up the ass again to sort of do the things I know. And you know why it's kind of also backed up the fuck this is because I'm kind of also kind of been like, man, I've barely tried it all in the last couple of years and I'm more successful now than ever.
Imagine if you try it.
I think that's like,
you can make 10 million with me. But
let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Right? But it's just funny that I crack myself up just because it's almost like this literally part of me where it's like I know what I know.
Yeah.
But then I kind of just joke with the fact that I know it. I'm like, yeah, but fucking
How do you know that this isn't an upper limit? It's almost like there's a part of you that's rejecting this stuff because if you did this stuff in conjunction with all the courageous actions you say and all the things you've got so many good systems set up and so much goodwill in your marketplace that you now revisit the tools that you were doing, like you're probably going to quantum shift.
So tell us then. So what is you kind of already
buy
mentioned
my program.
Buy my shit. So you kind of already mentioned it before, right? So you like the identity work. So going forward the 10 years. So talk to us about that. For the people listening to this going, okay, I want to do this work. Because that is something I actually probably do sometimes thinking, and I told you last time I did do it, I was just, when I met you, when we were in Dubai actually, before I was in the UK, and I was sitting at the event that I fucking spoke at, watching some of the other speakers on stage, sitting in the audience section, because I'm always a learner as well. So I literally go off stage, go in the audience. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, why do I feel more comfortable here than backstage? And then I was like, this is just interesting. Could it be just because it's been so many years, it's more habitual for me. It's more a familiar feeling, sure.
Right.
But then also what it was, I was like, Morgan, how would the version of you in 5 years, the one who's getting paid $200,000 for a keynote,
you would not be sitting
the person who's getting walked through the back with a fucking team of security because you get handed out there, how does that person feel in terms of what do they believe about themselves? And it was totally different from now. So I kind of do this. So, but walk us through, what does that sort of process look like? How can we? The
biggest tool that I'm going to give everyone here and you is like to work on. It's like my new favorite thing. And I share this with you because was it 3 years ago now? Yeah, about 3 years ago, me and my ex-fiance decided to part ways. And it was probably one of my most rock bottom moments in my business. I kind of lost my voice. I'd kind of given my power away to a mentor, like great soul lesson, but it was pretty painful. Me and my partner weren't connecting. I felt rejected. I stacked on weight. My bank balance was going down. It was like a shell of myself. And so we walked away because it was just like, it was almost like the triggers in the relationship started rippling into my business because it just felt so shit. So we walked away. We realized it wasn't in alignment. And I started redoing a tool called self-concept, and it was basically where you get clear on the end result. And it's not just like, oh, it's your magical day. Like, who is this version? And then what you're doing is you're saturating your internal world, your subconscious mind, with the dominant thoughts, feelings, and beliefs of that person. So I did a holistic one. I did money. I did how I'm perceived online, me, my power, this new woman that I'm attracting, and I did everything. And I created this, I did one written and I did one audio, and I plugged into 3-4 times a day. I was just crazy, hellbent, obsessed, right? And I went from not feeling great about myself, bank balance not in a great place, didn't even want to show up online. Within 8 weeks, I completely transformed my life. I healed my thyroid problem. I lost 8 kilos. I had a 200K launch. I came back online with full fucking back in my power. People were like, holy fuck, where you've been. And I manifested a embodied sex coach, a queer sex coach who couldn't get enough of me. So going from a relationship that didn't want to have sex to someone that couldn't get enough of me. Like when I say I manifested every single area, and this was all due to self-concept because I was living in the end result every single day. So it was like, it already felt familiar to be desired by this woman. I already felt familiar to be fucking banked and have a $200,000 launch.
So how can these guys do it? Like what is the steps to that?
Yeah. So basically the theory behind it is like Neville Goddard talks about everyone is you pushed out. Right. So everything in the universe, every person, everything is just you pushed out. I say that the universe is you inverse. It's just a projectile vomit of what's most dominantly going on inside of you. So the way you can start is like getting really clear on like, you know, like I feel, I'm seen as, I'm experienced as.
Is the future you, yeah?
Yeah. So it's like for me, let's say like my daily thing might be, and I plug into this every day while I'm doing my weights at the gym, like every single day.
So you've thought about it, written it out, recorded it, and now you speak
Sometimes
to yourself
I read it out with music, but I
Yeah.
like audio because I habit stack, meaning while I'm at the gym, I'm already ticking off a tool. It's done. So it might be like, you know, I'm magnetic. I'm the luckiest bitch alive. I feel incredible today. I'm seen as a manifestation expert. Everyone is frothing to work with me. I'm experienced as grounded, kind-hearted, amazing. I'm seen as a powerhouse. I feel incredible. I am grounded. I'm incredible. Like, so it's just like I just go on and on and on and on for 10 fucking minutes, right? And what that's doing is it's creating the internal universe. And as you know, we're all just fucking universes walking around, and whatever's going on in here is projected out there. So that universe must reflect what this universe is feeling. So I make sure I code my internal universe every single day.
What's the difference between that and the morning magical script?
Nothing really. Like
Same thing,
morning magical script. Sorry, the difference is one is like an identity work. Magical script, there's still identity to it, but it's like you're speaking in a certain timeline. So it could be like, I magically script how good a launch goes. Holy fuck, I launched it. Really, day one went off its tits. People started buying from day one. I made 20K in one day. This is amazing. Whereas that's got nothing to do with self-concept. Self-concept might be like, I'm so banked. I'm blessed. Money is so attracted to me.
When you write these out, because I definitely feel like this when I write it out. Okay, so if I was to be like, I just had a $200,000 launch,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And we know it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
And it can create that cognitive dissonance in our brain. And do you ever get where it's like, what the fuck? It's kind of that scary thing. How do you overcome that and actually be okay with, because it's almost like you declare something that hasn't happened, and it can, anyone who's like set goals before and done big goals and spoken to this existence, you know what I'm speaking about. It's because you kind of like, well, but what if it doesn't?
My number one rule, if it makes you feel like shit when you're reading it out, get rid of it.
Well, so it's more so like but what if it doesn't?
The doubt, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're conscious, if you're reading it out and immediately your conscious mind is calling bullshit on it, you need to get rid of it or lower the standards. Or like, so for example, if someone that hasn't made 10K months yet and they're like, I'm now making 100K months, stop, don't do it. That's ridiculous. Do something that feels good, that's still expansive. The second thing I'm going to share is everyone is either a generic manifester or a specific manifester. I'm a generic, so I don't like speaking in specific numbers because that contracts my energy. So you might be generic. So for you, it's
like big chunks.
So instead of be like, I'm now stepped into, $100,000 months consistently, you might be like, I love watching my bank account increase every month. My income is always increasing. My programs are selling out. Anything I create turns to gold. People froth working with me because that still means money. And because it's not specific, your conscious mind's less likely to call bullshit on it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That does sound more like me because, because it's also, this sounds so douchey, but it's like, we make good money, and if I was to add an extra 10K a month, it's not going to change much.
No.
Like, well, I'd employ somebody extra, but it's kind of more so, it's more pleasurable now.
Well, it's the identity thing, right? Because let's say the extra 10K made you 100K months, then what does that make available to share in your marketing and on stage? I just hit 2 million, so now I'm multi-millionaire. Has it changed my life at all? Absolutely not. I'm not able to do more now that I'm a multi-millionaire. But do you know why I fucking love it? Because
branding.
this is just my belief. People will now listen more. And I have a big mission to raise the vibration of humanity on a global scale. If that means I've got to get fucking rich and a multi-millionaire because people listen when you make money and you look like you know what you're doing, then fuck it. I'm going to become an 8-figure coach if that means more people are going to listen because it means that I get to share my message.
On that, so this has been your biggest year you've had, and you've been in business for 8-9 years, you said?
8, yeah.
What has been, I know we had drinks and Japanese in Dubai.
Yeah.
We talked for hours all about this.
$600 dinner.
That she got, by the way.
So I shouted you,
Next
you still owe me dinner.
Next time.
I'll let you get away with the $100 one.
I'll take the next dinner. We don't do it in Dubai.
In
at the nicest
hotel. She's going to take me to Macca's on Sunday.
The nicest hotel in Dubai as well. But what do you think was the biggest thing that really contributed to, like, because you quantum leaped this year, right? You said a few years ago, you know, because you were still doing things. I've been watching. You've been building your business and you've been marketing. You've been doing launches. You've been doing all the things. And on the surface level, it doesn't really look like your work ethic changed. No. Like that's the same. Yeah. But you've had a significantly way bigger year this year.
I doubled my income.
What do you think has been the biggest thing that helped you really do that?
I'd have to say 2 things. Number one is this year's probably the year that I've been the most disciplined in my morning practices, to the point that even if I was flying, I'm still meditating on the plane. I'm still like, there's no excuses. And the reason that's so important to me is because it builds more trust with me. And if I trust me and I cultivate that safety and that certainty inside, I can handle more uncertainty on the outside, which brings me to the next thing. Because I was so consistent and I raised my vibration, I did these tools like my life depended on it, right? It allowed me to take even bigger risks. Never in a million years, if you told me at the start of the year that I'd do an Australian tour that then turned into a world tour, there's no way. But because I felt so safe, I was able to take bigger action. So it's a discipline on my manifesting and vibrational practices, which created more diluted self-belief, which then in turn had me be like, Pim, fuck it, I'm going to do a world tour. Because what happens when you believe in yourself? So of course, it was the action, but without creating the internal identity shift, I don't know if I would have done Australian tour. I probably would have played it safe and done online shit.
I love it. I love it.
I love it.
If you were to be put into a rocket ship and shot off into space to go hang out with all your alien friends, and the world down here can never get access to you ever again, what would be the final 2 things that you'd want to leave for these people?
That's a really good question. I hate these questions.
2 tools or 2 tips or 2...
Just for 6 to 8 weeks, I want you to make a promise to yourself from the moment you hear this podcast. Just for the next 6 to 8 weeks, I want you to go all in and just pick 4 to 5 manifesting or identity shifting tools that you're going to do, like your life dependent on it, consistently, and mark it down on a calendar every single day. Promise yourself that and just see where you're at 6 to 8 weeks from now, because that is the only way anyone can transform their life radically. That's all I did 8 years ago, and my whole fucking life changed. And I wasn't born with courage. I wasn't born with self-belief. I was deep in the matrix. I had no dreams, no vision. And if I can do it, anyone can with consistency.
Cool. That's one. You got another? What would you say to the person who's watching this right now, who's working so hard on their business or their goals or their dreams, and they're like, doesn't matter how hard I work, it just feels like it's just not fucking happening, and they need that inspiration?
I would say, and only because there hasn't been a year that I haven't heavily invested in myself, and only because I know what it did when I first invested in myself. find someone that's already created what you want and get skin in the game. Invest whatever amount you can. If you need to take out a loan, take out a fucking loan. I took out a loan and I was in a 9-to-5 job, and it just put a fire up my ass. It had me get skin in the game, and I implemented and I learned from these mentors. And I truly believe that the leaders that are continually investing in themselves are the ones that are also collapsing time, because and maybe they are investing in themselves, but I honestly feel like if you're working really hard, a lot of the time it's because they're trying to do it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. Alex, this has been fun. Where can everybody find you? Check out everything you do.
alextripod.org, or go on my Instagram at alextripod.
I love it. All right, final question to wrap this up. Are you ready?
Yes.
If you were to go back to your 18-year-old self and give her 30 seconds of advice, what would it be?
Enjoy your life. You are so amazing. Trust, because at the age of 30, your life is going to radically transform and nothing's going to stop it.